both wonderful ambassadors for the sport. Even though Edberg has a commanding lead over his opponent here, anything could happen in this match because Svensson has been playing extremely well. So with me, Paul Hutchins. Paul, I suppose one would have to go with Edberg because he is, after all, the #1 man in the world, but you know better than most that anything can happen in a match.
Yes, despite having 6 victories against him over Jonas Svensson and no victories for Jonas, I still think the match is still fairly even. And it wouldn't surprise me that Jonas doesn't do very well indeed. Stefan Edberg has been very, very keen, looking very alive and alert all week. And I think over this 5-set match, I think we should have some very good tennis, and I don't know who's going to win. I wouldn't automatically put my money automatically on Edberg, but you'd have to just say he was a slight favourite.
So Svensson in your picture usually starts rather nervously. He's 24 years old. He was born in Gothenburg, lives in Kungsbacka, if I pronounce that correctly. He's seeded #6 in this tournament, ranked 13 in the world. He has been better than that. He's had a very, very successful career, very solid career. $1.3 million he's won in prize money alone, and a fair amount this year. He's won 4 singles titles in his life, and he wasn't far off the final. Well, he was in the final stages of the French Open last year. He got to the semi-final. And so he's a player who I always feel could make the final breakthrough and go all the way to take a Grand Slam title. He's a very elegant player, a lovely two-handed backhand he has, and he's a delight to watch. They're exactly the same height, incidentally, these two, both 6'2", that's 1.88 m. And very alike in many ways. Edberg, just 1 year older, lives in London, quite close to the Royal Albert Hall, practices in London a lot. His prize money is out of reach for most people. Nearly $9 million in prize money, 4 Grand Slam titles, Grand Slam as a junior, $81,000 this year, 27 singles titles. Just a glittering career by a magnificent tennis player. One of the few one-handed Swedes as well, Paul, in the backhand.
Yes, he used to be two-handed in his younger days, but then changed, like many people have changed. Pete Sampras used to be two-handed, but is now one-handed. But as you have implied, Bill, the majority of the Swedish players play with two-handed backhands and fairly heavy topspin forehand. Edberg is the only one that really is a major serve and volley merchant. Most of the others like to stay on the baseline, as Jonas Svensson does. But Jonas particularly, Bill, runs around his backhand well and hits forehand, and has also got a very good, what I call an approach volley, which I can talk about a little later on.
Well, that's their head-to-heads. As you see the two heads, 6 against the head of Edberg, 0 against the head of Svensson. And that will be very much in both players' minds, but particularly, I think, in Edberg's mind. There's Richard Ings, who is one of the top umpires in the world. He travels the world with the players. He's a young man in his early 20s at University in Melbourne. Has devoted his entire life now to tennis, and sitting in that chair, conducting affairs in a very calm, very authoritative and very good way. I think he's an excellent umpire.
Yes, he is, Bill, and he would realise that he'd have no trouble today on temperamental or on temperament, and would really look forward to enjoying this match from his point of view, because both players are very, very pleasant and honest and open characters.
Yes, that is absolutely for sure, that we are going to have no ructions in this match. There's going to be the occasional raised eyebrow, but certainly there's not going to be a free fight out there between these two. Friends, fellow countrymen, and now enemies for a few hours. And there is a brave man at the start to make a correction on his first call.
Well, both players, Bill, just summing each other up from the baseline, getting used to the environment and the surroundings and the court speed.
And there's that little fluttering run from Stefan Edberg. He's really floated his way around this court all week. First break point, gone begging. That's a superb shot. Absolutely logical, but beautifully played.
And this is what these top players are so good at. They just can see from the corner of their eye, although they're concentrating on the ball, they know exactly where their opponent is.
He just paused for a second, a split second, Svensson. He thought the ball too long, played it, and rather lost the initiative in that rally. Very lucky to get away with that, Jonas. Very poor attempt to put away that shot.
Svensson.
His nerves will have calmed down a little bit after that, I think, Paul. I thought he looked very nervous indeed when he came up to play that put-away volley, which was just a hopeless attempt. He was so lucky to get away with. And he is a nervous starter. There is no doubt about that. The semi-final of the French last year, apparently he was struck with nerves before the match. And also, before his first semi-final here yesterday, he was very nervous indeed, wandering around. Now, that is something he must learn to control, but it's a factor, isn't it, in this match? And he seems to have settled down already, though.
Yes, it's very difficult to see from the Swedes' point of view, or when you look at the Swedes, Bill, whether they're nervous or not, because they're all very unemotional, and they look very poker face. So you wouldn't actually think, on just looking at your TV screen, that Jonas or Stefan are nervous. But there's a big atmosphere. I mean, we're talking about in front of 7,000 people, television, media. I mean, a lot of computer points. If Svensson happens to win this match, he gets a lot of bonus points for beating Edberg, and perhaps he could even go into the top 10 of the world if he reaches this, if he wins this match. So there is a lot riding on it. And despite losing 6 matches in a row to Stefan Edberg, You know, he really is going to be in a very, very determined mood to try and beat his fellow countrymen.
It's always tougher for the player who's ranked above his fellow countrymen. In this case, of course, Edberg. He's got a lot of points to prove. Love one, first set.
I think both players, Bill, will be serving more to their forehands than their backhands. Be interesting to see what tactic he applies during this match.
No. Two wonderful returns. One forehand, one backhand. He's hot.
No, 30.
Oh, yes. Outrageous pass that, wasn't it?
One's got to realise that they've only been caught on court just over 5 minutes. I appreciate they've all been practicing in the morning, but this is a heck of a shot to play so early in the match. He had to go for an outright winner, Bill, otherwise he was dead because Svensson was at the net.
Yeah, I must say, I would have chickened out and lobbed there. What a shot. Another beautiful return, right down at his feet. 2 break points to Svensson. Second break point, second serve. And third clean pass. Wonderful returning.
Svensson,
A dream start by Jonas Svensson. This to make it 3-love, first set.
No plastic of 30.
Yes, it just went off the line there. And because the lines are painted, when the ball hits the lines on these Supreme Courts, it just goes off at a slightly different, faster speed.
No plastic of 40.
So 3 chances for this breakback. That is an excellent shot. Managed to get the ball dipping so short and wide.
Svensson had his high size. Svensson is 2.
Well, you would expect a player of Edberg's stature to try and break back immediately, and sure enough he has. And this is incidentally the first all-Swedish final since August 1989, when Wilander beat Edberg in Cincinnati. And that was followed a few months later, the same year, in Palermo in Italy, Sicily indeed, when Mats Wilander beat Kent Carlsen. There's a name from the past, Kent Carlsen, unfortunately now retired with bad knees. So Mats has figured in the last 2 all-Swedish finals, and it's a very rare thing for 2 Swedes to meet in a final. It's rather extraordinary, that. So Stefan Edberg, how did he get there? He had a very tough match against the great big German Zucker. 6-4, 7-6. That was tough. Camporese, the man in such good form, 6-3, 7-6. He squeaked through that as well. A much easier one against the fellow Swede, Magnus Gustafsson. And then Jan Siemerink, who's been the bombshell in this tournament, really, coming from nowhere. Hardly anybody had heard of him. Gets through to the semi-final and gives Edberg a really good match, 6-4, 6-4. And so Edberg goes steaming on without dropping a set. But this is a 5-set match. And this match we are going to complete for you and then show you the doubles after that. So Edberg serving here, 1-2.
And quite rightly so, Edberg changes the tactics and serves to his forehand, having lost his last serve by serving a lot too much to the backhand.
They might have a long afternoon, those two, watching Stefan Edberg try and win this match. So all the euphoria that Jonas Svensson must have felt, having built a 2-set, two-love lead and serving for a 3-love lead, must now have evaporated. They're in a match, all square, 2-all, first set.
It'll be interesting to see over a 5-set match how much Svensson gets to the net. So far, when he's been there, he's been successful. But he does prefer to stay on the baseline.
Such a delicate touch.
Well, we've been saying all week, Bill, what a marvellous volleyer Edberg is. Look how he takes the pace off this ball.
Edberg playing very well, a very difficult shot. This a point for 3-2. It's the difference between these two men, isn't it, Paul, really? That Edberg would have made that look beautifully easy, and Svensson really made it rather cumbersome.
Yeah, Svensson's not a great natural volleyer, like most of the Swedes, apart from Edberg.
Yes, that's not an easy volley, really. Changing direction, low ball, skidding off the racket.
Funny, isn't it? There's three almost identical volleys from both players, all out.
Yeah, rather dangerous tactics to use against an all-round athlete who covers the court so well.
Yes, to make a drop shot at this stage of the match is a wrong shot, I'd have thought. It has to have been a winner, because once Edberg's at the net, he really is invincible.
Break point for 3-2 to Edberg. Edberg's broken for the second successive time. So, from being 2-love down, Edberg is now 3-2 up in the first set of this final. Hello again from Stuttgart. The final of the Eurocard Classic here in Stuttgart, which sees so much top tennis. Very fortunate city for a tennis player to live in, this place, because it has all these big events, most of them promoted by the manager of Boris Becker, Jon Tyriak, who is here, of course. 3 games in a row to Edberg. Now he leads 3-2. Well, that's the sort of umpire Richard Ings is. He is prepared to put his head on the chopping block and come up and make a call, and I think he was right there.
Yes, the linesman made a very quick decision, didn't he or she? Isn't it, Bill, how Edberg has made, what, 5 errors now on his backhand volley, and it is the best shot in the world, his backhand volley. At least he's human.
Jonas is hitting it very, very hard, producing some of these errors. Well, anybody wanting to study the smash could well follow that last one. Both Stefan's arms were up in the air way, way before he hit the ball. Eyes glued to the ball. Balance perfect. Just as well, Stefan is serving pretty well in this match, because he's certainly not volleying so far as well as he has done the rest of the week. But Stefan, after his match yesterday, said, against Semerink, he said, "I didn't serve well today, but I probably will tomorrow." It's been that sort of week. Every other match he served well.
Yes, whether Edberg serves well often, I think, depends upon the ball toss. And if his ball toss is consistent, then he normally serves well.
Edberg fährt 40 an, Edberg ist groß.
Yeah, following on from what you said there, Paul, I think Edberg has more of a problem finding the exact spot to place the ball, because his ball, as you said, does not go up vertically or slightly to the right as most players do. He finds a spot well to his left, and that is a difficult spot to find each time, consistently.
Yeah, Svensson really is in trouble now, Bill, isn't he? He lost 4 games in a row, and the first point of this game. He really has got to get back into the psychological race here.
Superb movement from Edberg.
It was the same in his match yesterday. He hits the ball and then immediately starts to run. There's no hesitation once Edberg has hit the ball, and that gives him an extra, 2 meters start.
Dangerous moments for Jonas Svensson. Break point. It goes 2-5 down. So Jonas Svensson, just missing with that shot there, has now lost 5 games in a row, having had a brilliant start, breaking Edberg in the second game, holding his own in the first game. And this is how he got there. He had a tough, very tough first set against Richard Fromberg of Australia, and then he murdered him in the next 2 sets. In Patrick Bauer, 6-4, 6-2, Karol Novacek, 7-6, 6-2. And then, of course, he faced a match point in his semi-final in the tie-break there against Guy Forget, and then Forget's heavy program just was too much for him, really, to maintain the superb form he's shown in the whole of this year, and Forget fell apart in that final set, 6-2. So Jonas Svensson, fit as a fiddle, one hopes. He's had stomach muscle problems, which has affected his serving, but he's got problems now, Paul.
He has indeed. Very difficult to play against someone like Edberg, who's on a roll. A little bit unlucky in that last point, Bill. Once again, Richard Ings overruled the linesman. Jonas Svensson having a few words with Richard. He really went for that forehand down the line, considering he was break point down. He's just got to get stuck in now and hope that Edberg perhaps starts serving not quite so well. You can't start defending and playing negatively against Edberg. You've got to go absolutely flat out and attack, otherwise he'll swamp you.
So Stefan Edberg, he's got the new balls to help as well, is now serving for the first set, 5-2. Stefan has the great advantage, really, Paul, doesn't he, of not even having to play a terribly good approach shot, because he's so superbly cat-like with his volleys that he can make up. Oh, that's bad luck.
Yes, I mean, it's a good idea in one respect, Bill, but Edberg wasn't that close to the net. Not as close as he sometimes gets. It's when the guy is very close to the net is the opportune time to do a topspin lob.
So more terrific serving from Stefan Edberg has brought in 3 set points for the first set, and this would be a run of 6 games in a row.
Schwierig, das ist das. Edberg. 26.
So the crowd are really watching a master player in action here, and a bit tough on Jonas, who must have really thought he'd started so well. Well, he did start well. Here's the second set.
And I'd venture to suggest, Bill, that this game is absolutely vital for Svensson. If he loses this, Edberg is on such a roll that it's going to seem difficult for him to get back into this match. I know it's 5 sets, but...
Yep. So deep was Edberg's shot that Svensson was forced to half volley return off the baseline. He is being forced at the moment to find passing shots which are just not in his locker, really. Edberg smothering the net.
Oh, that's unlucky, isn't it? It's the best serve he's done of the whole match. He desperately, desperately needs this game, and it's called a let.
Yes, a rather late call, much to Jonas's relief. And he's having a torrid time on serve all the way through the match. He's been taken to 40 by his opponent or broken in every service game.
Svensson.
So Jonas Svensson wins the game that you said, Paul, was vital, and I quite agree, for his continued success in this final. That was a vital game for him. Here's what Jonas Svensson has done in Grand Slam tournaments. A couple of fourth rounds there in the Australian Open and a quarter-final 2 years ago. Couple of semi-finals in the French. That's really where he has shone on the clay courts. And at Wimbledon, nothing past the third round, and one fourth round in the US Open. So he's been a contender in all the Grand Slams, but it's on the clay of France, really, where he's found most success. And Stefan Edberg, starting his career a long, long time ago. He had a win in the first Grand Slam win in the Australian Open in '85, 6 years ago. Quarter-final French Open on a surface one would think wouldn't suit him too well. Wimbledon, nothing there so far, fourth round, semi-final in the US. And then you see a final in the Australian Open and a win back in '87. That was his second win. Fourth round in the French Open. And, of course, a runner-up in the French Open in '89 and a couple of Wimbledon wins. Never passed the semi-final in the US Open. A victim of the dreadful scheduling they have there for television. We are the culprits, and Stefan has not forgiven us. So Edberg, upper set, love one, second set. Listening, feeling for the net cord. Lovely little return. Hit it late.
Now, perhaps this will give Jonas a little bit of encouragement. Edberg's been serving quite a lot to his forehand. That time it was to his favourite two-handed backhand.
He's hitting the line quite consistently, and it's skidding off that line. And he's serving fast. A real penetrating performance on serve so far by Edberg in this final. Paul, I think Jonas is forcing himself to do things which are slightly unnatural to him, and he doesn't really want to do, but full marks for courage coming in.
Oh, yes, and he's really copying Edberg, who's doing exactly the same thing. On the second serve, chipping and then getting in tight on the net.
Yeah, the returns have to be better than that, but he really is standing in quite close, Svensson, giving himself a chance to chip and charge to the net. Not as close as Chang stood to Lendl in the French Open when he stood on the service line and half volleyed them back. Well played. Tiny area to hit to, and he made it. Well, all the crowd's sympathies are with him, and he now has a chance to do just what he did in the first set, take a 2-love lead.
Once again, the instincts of the world's #1 come out when he's breakpoint down. There's just something in the makeup of these top players that when they're in danger, they tend to know exactly the right shot to play. Lost his throw up a bit, Bill.
Yep, hasn't served a good first serve for quite a few times now.
Svensson.
And what happens, Bill, on Stefan's throw-up is that naturally he normally throws it over the left-hand shoulder. When his throw-up starts to go wrong, it's normally out to the right a little bit too much. If you really look at it closely, you can see when it happens.
Yes, that was a much better toss, that second serve then. Just where he normally has it. High. And a couple of feet to the left. Big arch of the back. Coming over the ball. Top and side spin on it. Very well placed.
All the Swedish players with the two-handed backhands all have this wonderful, slow take-up on the racket. Just look and see if you can see that. Look, the racket's already back in preparation for that down-the-line shot.
Yep, that was a good shot too. He didn't risk it too much. Terrific amount of topspin.
Very quick change of direction from Svensson.
His third chance to take a 2-love lead. Well, he's got it in the easiest possible way. Very patchy serving in that game from Stefan, who served so well in the first set. Can't you just feel the confidence oozing back into Jonas Svensson now?
Yes, when you think that he had a break point to lose the opening game of this set, could easily be completely the other way around, 2-love to Edberg, couldn't it? Such a fine dividing line, tennis, at this level. Edberg thought the ball was out, Bill.
Yes, I think he did. It was a cunning little serve, wasn't it? Terrific angle. Anyway, Jonas Svensson has now come back from the dead, really, and he's taken the first 3 games of the second set, having dropped the first. The match is extremely interesting. Well, it's often been said that tennis is a funny game, and tennis is not the only game that's funny, but that scoreline is, because the first 2 games of the first set went to Svensson. Edberg reeled off 6 for the set and has now dropped the first 3 of the second set. Edberg now needs a comeback here. Love 3 down.
First set of 13.
This is the end, Bill, where Eurosport viewers can study the throw-up, which we've been talking about on this serve. See how far over the left-hand shoulder it is.
When he's serving well, it's almost impossible to return well. I remember Paul once talking to John Lloyd before a Wimbledon about 3 or 4 years ago, or more than that, and he said he practiced with Steph and he just couldn't return the serve. I think they were playing sort of 21 points up or something, and John said every time Stefan served it was a perfect serve, and it kicked so high he just couldn't control it.
Well, it is the best second serve in the game.
I think the answer is it does kick so high, really. On the backhand, you just have to take it on the rise and either slice or, as a Chang would do, and also Jonas can do, come over it with topspin. But it's not easy. It's a big timing problem.
Michael Chang's so small, he could probably smash it, Bill.
Yes. Look at that. That is so athletic. On the jump, pump it right into the corner. Yes, he was very lucky to get away with it. Edberg really should have gone cross-court.
Yes, a very bad drop shot from Svensson, but he managed to get away with blue murder here. He really anticipated. Watch Svensson move early. There he goes.
Very important points coming up now for Jonas Svensson to maintain his momentum. Thought he could have made that. Snatched at it, didn't he?
Yes, I think he was in about 4 different minds as to whether to hit it or what. Let's have a look at it again. This was actually a very good volley because the return of serve was excellent. Just look at the net cord there. He could have actually waited. He tried to take it, then thought it was going out, decided to take it again, but missed it.
So break point. So he's being faced with yet another tough game, Jonas Svensson. He's only had one game in the whole match where he hasn't been taken, where his opponent hasn't got to at least 40 or broken him.
Well, that really is incredibly unusual for Edberg to miss 2 second serves consecutively. It really is a fairly basic shot from Stefan's point of view. That won't please him.
Yes, he didn't quite mean that, I don't think, but what a wonderful approach shot it was.
Yes, a little bit lucky because it was actually a miss hit. I'm not quite sure that we can see on television the actual miss. Here's the miss hit. He did well to get this, Jonas. Didn't quite centralise the volley there.
Well, he chose a very difficult option and played it beautifully.
That last shot was one of the best shots of the match, Bill, because you've got to take into consideration that it was a break point down when he did that high-risk shot.
I think both players hesitated just a second because that looked to me as though it could have been slightly long, that serve. And the calls on that line, I think, have been a bit suspect.
Nice little dress, Bill.
Steffi Graf of the future, perhaps.
I remember seeing Steffi in England when she came over for international when she was 9 years old. I mean, a few years ago now.
What was that, under 12 international?
Yes, it was, in Crawley, in Sussex. Boris Becker and Steffi Graf playing international match versus Great Britain.
Did they win?
Yes, West Germany did win.
So a tough game this is for Jonas Svensson. He has a chance here to stay ahead. Yep, that's a perfect shot on the run. Beautiful play. So Jonas Svensson is having to fight for his life to stay ahead, but he is ahead by a break here. He is 4-1 up in the second set, having lost the first. It could be very exciting. Hello, welcome back. Although you wouldn't tell it from Jonas Svensson's face, not ever. Exciting things are happening for him. He's got a break. He's got a 4-1 lead second set. Edberg, who had chances to break back there, failed to take them. And is now very much struggling in this set, 1-4 down. Didn't serve well in his last service game.
Svensson has got much more confidence now. You could see that by the way he approached the net straight off the return serve.
Just a couple of little stuttering steps, and Stefan gets himself so beautifully poised for these volleys. Very rare to see Stefan make an error. He spends so much time at the net. He's a very good judge of what's going in and out. He's also an object lesson in playing that volley. Seen McEnroe miss that high forehand volley quite often. Edberg, just with the most abbreviated swing possible, just pushes the ball safely home. Beautiful technique. 4-2 up. Svensson, second set. The crash door has been opened, I think. Edberg was suffering from that yesterday in his match. Well, over a long match, you've got to expect some lapses of concentration. Certainly one there. Been on court now 5 minutes over the hour.
Svensson.
Paul, we mentioned that they've met 6 times, and it's rather strange that every single match they played before has been on a hard court. First time they've met here indoors on a carpet, and Svensson has only before won 2 sets off Edberg in those 6 matches. Well, he's doing better now.
Yes, I have a theory, Bill, that it's really overrated the number of times that they've played, and just because someone's 6 love up, I really don't think that makes a huge amount of difference, because every match is separate, and the form of the players over the years that they've been playing 6 times has been different. The circumstances are different. Edberg's had a pretty rough time recently with his results. He lost in the semi-final of the Australian Open, having had a match point against Lendl and serving a double fault. So that was disappointing. Then in Brussels, he lost in the semi-final. In the Davis Cup, he lost 3 matches in a row when Sweden unexpectedly lost to Yugoslavia. So the circumstance is entirely different, because Stefan has got quite a lot to prove to himself now, having had a few bad results from his point of view over the last few weeks. So I don't think they really think about the number of times they've won or lost. It probably made Jonas even more, given him even more incentive to try and win.
So Edberg serving here to stay in the second set. He's 2-5 down.
It's always very nice to watch Stefan Edberg play. He's such a wonderful mover. He glides over the court, and he's got a great sense of when to come to the net. There's a good example of that.
Bread and butter volley for Edberg, which he failed to put over then. He won't be pleased with that. Well, he very nearly put that one out too. Doesn't today seem to like the volleys right into his body. Very good, cool play by Jonas.
Now, as well as playing each other 6 times in the recent years, they've grown up together as juniors, and they would both know this sort of routine. Jonas would know that Stefan prefers the cross-court forehand on a shot like that, and he was ready waiting.
Very good return, full of pace.
Einstellungsschluss.
Who says there's a disadvantage of being two-handed, Bill? I can't see it.
Not Jimmy Connors, not Chris Evert. What a sharp little rally, wasn't it?
Schwere Länger Minus. Svensson führt 5-0. Svensson leads by 3.
So Jonas Svensson now has a chance to level this match at set all. Great shot. He really does pile those backhands over very fast. Lovely technique too when he does it. Big dip of the right knee. He cannot afford to hit that short and expect to win the point.
He's going to make sure his hands are dry, Stefan. Big point coming up here. He dragged it. The body came right round with it. Set point. Well, it's set all, and I really think Stefan has got only himself to blame there, Paul, really. That was poor by his standards, that returning of the serve. Yes, if one goes back to the last two sets, one has to say that the backhand volley of Edberg hasn't been going very well, and the backhand returner serve, typical of the last shot, hasn't been going well. The second serve that Svensson just rolls into Edberg's backhand. Edberg's been making a lot of unforced errors. But I go back to the first game of the second set, Bill, where it could easily been a different way, where Edberg had a break point to go 1-love after having gone 6 games in a row from 2-love down in the first set. And if he'd got the opening game, Edberg, of this second set, then I think we could have easily been sitting here saying it's 2-love to Edberg. It's a very, very fine dividing line at this level of the professional game. 1 or 2 points make a huge, huge difference, but full marks to Jonas.
Absolutely. And he certainly has the crowd behind him, Jonas Svensson. It's tough on a really nice guy like Stefan Edberg to find he hasn't got all that much support, but I think this crowd have been very, very fair all week to the man less expected to win. And you're looking at him. But it's now absolutely level. Either of these two could take this match. Now it's Stefan who needs to set off well at the start of the set. Svensson's ahead for the first time in the match, albeit by only 1 point. Set all, first game, love 15. As you say, Paul, they play together so often and practice together and been friends together. Concentrate, you. And he's anticipating very well, isn't he, Jonas Svensson, where the Edberg volleys are going?
Yes, when he's been brought up with the youngs, with the same people. In the junior days, they used to travel around with each other. So it's obvious they know each other's game very well.
So it's set all, 1-love to Edberg. Hello, welcome back to Stuttgart with Eurosport here in the final of this classic tournament. Set all, Svensson serving, love 1. Paul, I think his new technique, relatively new technique on the forehand, is helping him do that cross-court, because he comes round the ball with this forehand sweep. And it's a natural shot to go cross-court.
Yes, he used to have a bit of a hitch in his forehand, still does sometimes. But I'm sure well, I know he works very hard on his forehand drive, Stefan Edberg, because it is the weakest of his 2 shots, back in the forehand. Only relatively, though.
Both Stefan and Jimmy Connors, who have had problems with their forehands, in a way play the same sort of shot. They sort of drag the ball and follow through very, very carefully with it. So points for a 2-love lead.
Well, once again, Bill, Svensson has sneaked out of this game. I don't know whether he's going to get it or not, but same pattern as the last set. Edberg break point to break his serve.
Well, I think that was worth trying. Do you agree, Paul? Edberg was on his way, of course.
Yes, I don't know, Bill. I think I wouldn't really. I think the obvious shot was just to push it down the line to Edberg's backhand and then to take the net position. I don't know. It's easy up here, but
it's break point. Oh, yes. He managed just to get enough urge into that half volley there to push it past. Good shot.
Just look how low he gets down here.
It's great when they converge on each other at the net.
Svensson. Svensson.
Well, as you say, just as he did in the second set, he's squeaked out of games where he had break points against him early in the set. And Stefan, who could and should really have been 2-love, serving for a 3-love lead, is now 1-all. Set all, 1-all.
Smart blazer. Likes Henley, Bill, isn't it?
He's really rather lost that shot at the moment, Stefan. He's using a disproportionate amount of effort to play the ball.
It gives us all hope, doesn't it, Bill, when the number one in the world starts missing shots like that?
Certainly does. Beautiful serve, wasn't it? Got the toss just right. So, Edberg, I always feel Edberg is now 2-1 up. And I always feel, Paul, that the third set is a sort of calm before a storm that's coming, because nobody's in any danger of losing the match in this set. And therefore the player who makes the real determined effort and is really steely about his tennis often wins the match in a third set. I know that can not apply as well, but I always feel it's the deadest of the sets of a 5-set match, or can be.
Yes, they're both continuing to sum each other up in this set and to find out what sort of game they should play in the fourth and perhaps the fifth. It's a long time, 5 sets. I mean, when you think that Becker played in Australia a match that lasted 5 hours and 11 minutes. Now that's absolutely exceptional. But a 5-set match, you've got to pace yourself. It's no good trying 100% for 100% of the points. You've got to pace yourself, realizing that you've got to reach your crescendo and to reach your potential in the 5th set if necessary. And at the moment, Edberg is not really travelling first class at the moment, because he's getting the opportunity and making the openings and then not quite grabbing them. Svensson, on the other hand, is just about hanging in. Still difficult to predict anything at the moment, because he certainly is a giant killer of a person, Svensson. He's certainly not afraid of beating people like Edberg.
That's bad luck. It was a very difficult shot, that off backhand half volley. Edberg's dangerous now, I think. He's got love 30. He definitely smells a break here.
Really well played, because you've got to remember that the last 2 points Edberg has got to the net first time out, and therefore Svensson psychologically has taken the upper hand and made sure that Stefan hasn't got to the net. He's done well. Well, that's a bit tough on Stefan. Looks skyward for relief or help. Good comeback, though, by Svensson from love 30. Very good comeback indeed by Jonas. Couldn't be more even. 2-all, third set.
child is piping up again, Paul. Bit distracting. Jonas seems the more amused. It's actually fairly amazing, isn't it, that Stefan's missing some of these volleys. I mean, that was he got it nowhere near the middle of the racket. And he was absolutely poised for the shot.
Thing is, though, when you play against Edberg, you can only assume you're going to, at best, break his serve perhaps once a set.
Once again, absolutely incredible.
Yes, it wasn't so much the last volley that really was surprising, Bill. It was the first volley. That was a good one, but this was the one where Stefan Edberg really should have put away that smash. There was no angle on that shot at all.
Well, he was lucky there, but he's still ahead in this set, 3-2. We'll be back. Hello, welcome back. Svensson 2-3. Right shot by Stefan, but nowhere near deep enough.
Well, this arguably is one of the most difficult shots in the game. The temptation was to put the angle volley, but Svensson just played it coolly and calmly back to the forehand.
Wagging his finger and telling himself something. I wonder if he was telling himself to watch the ball. Sniffing another break, perhaps. 15-30. He's serving well at crucial points, though, Jonas. Well, they each had one. Set all, 3-all. He had to get there quickly before the ball dropped.
Yes, Richard Ings, the umpire, had a very good bird's eye view, watching very carefully. They made sure Jonas didn't touch the net here. There he did.
Now then it'll be Jonas Svensson who will be very much sniffing a possible break. Seventh game, third set, love 30.
Amazing time to serve, 2 double faults. That just shows you that Edberg is not very confident on this toss-up on his serve, because he has the best second serve in the game, absolutely no doubt about it. Ask the top 10 players in the world and they would say Edberg's got the best second serve, and yet 2 doubles in a row.
And 3 break points. Well, these next couple of points could decide this set. Oh, that one shot he might regret. Just 1 break point left.
And just like clockwork, isn't it? Break point down, the #1 in the world. The old instincts for getting that first serve in come into play.
Just slightly less pressure on this point, and so he doesn't get the first serve in. Such a fine dividing line. Terrific safe comeback by Edberg from love 40. Now game point. Well, that wasn't flamboyance at all by Jonas Svensson. It really was a remarkably quick-thinking thing to do. I wonder if we'll see that in slow motion again. I hope so. He sort of overran the ball, had to play it between his legs. Not like some players do for effect.
Yes, full marks to Stefan Edberg. That's why he's the class player that he is. Because when you think he was love 40 down, he threw up on his serve all over the place. 2 doubles in a row. Break points down galore. But at the vital stage, he came back and got his first serve in. That was a good volley. Did well to get this up. Now, this shot, Svensson should have volleyed there. He should have volleyed it because Stefan Edberg was out of position, but it all happened a little bit too quickly, and then he had no option but just to get the ball in back through his legs. It's a pity, actually, he couldn't hit that volley first time, wasn't it, Bill?
Well, if it had been the other way around, I'm sure Edberg would have done. But then Edberg's instincts are to go forward, not to let the ball drop. Other players' instincts are not to go forward. And this is the reason, for example, Lendl hasn't fulfilled his great ambition at Wimbledon. His instincts are not to go forward. Talking of Lendl, Jonas Svensson was the man who broke the great dominance of Ivan Lendl in the French Open in the quarterfinals in 1988, brought off a huge surprise over the 3 times winner of the French Open, beating him in the quarterfinals. And then Svensson lost to Henri Leconte, who in turn lost to Mats Wilander in the final. But Svensson is no respecter of great reputations, as he's proving here. I think a factor in this match, Paul, is that Edberg's forehand is not as good as Svensson's in this match.
No, so far it hasn't been. Svensson much prefers to play on the baseline. Edberg much prefers to get to the net.
Well, the new balls are coming out to help Stefan Edberg serve next time. We usually have a bet on a match, Paul. I'm not quite sure what to bet here. I tell you what, I'll bet that if Edberg wins this set, Edberg wins the match in 4 sets. And I'll bet if Svensson wins this set, it goes to 5. How about that?
Well, I think you've hedged your bets quite well there, Bill. Yes, well, normally I like to have a bet with you, but I think I probably agree with that summary.
I'm not putting any money on it. Edberg 4-all, set all.
I don't think I've ever seen Edberg play a match missing so many of his favourite shot, which is the backhand volley. Must have been about, what, 7 or 8 fairly easy backhand volleys that he's missed.
At least. And he was love 40 in his last service game. He's now love 30. He is living very, very dangerously. Well, that backhand volley was absolutely marvellous, but normally we don't even bother to comment on that sort of shot. But here it's 1 in about 5 is doing that.
I think it's great when these top players are missing their best shot. I think it proves that they're just simple human beings after all. I mean, they've got to struggle even with their best shots. Same as the club players. think everyone assumes, Bill, watching television, these great players, that everything comes very easy for these players, but it doesn't. They've still got to go out and practice them. Tony Pickard, his coach, will be making a mental note of those backhand volleys, and I'm sure that Stefan will be out practicing tomorrow the backhand volley.
Here is just about the biggest point of the match so far. Not in the set points. Here is a break point for Svensson to lead 5-4 and then to come out and serve for a 2-set-to-1 lead. I wonder if this first serve will go in. What a chance missed. Not an easy one, really, running forward like that. Sight of Edberg straight in front of you must be intimidating.
Yes, I'm sure the friendly player that he is, Jonas Svensson, had difficulty in deciding whether to hit it very, very hard at Stefan. That's a great shot. Oh. Just look at this. He takes the ball so early. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Marvellous shot. Break point for the second time. Each time the first serve has gone in. Very good umpiring, isn't it?
Yes, and both players totally accepting the call from one of the top umpires in the game, Richard Ings.
Oh, that was a great forehand volley. Right down for it. 6'2" of tennis player, but when Edberg moves forward, he suddenly becomes about 3 feet tall. He's all spread out, low, well balanced. Oh yes, well played. Under pressure, falling backwards. That's a very good smash.
Full marks to both players here. Great exhibition of tennis. There was a topspin lob that was a very good one. Stefan Edberg just about got it off on his strings of his racket. Had to lob to get back into position in the middle of the court, but Jonas Svensson made the winner.
Good serve again. Very exciting moments in the match just here. It's really hotted up. Having had 2 break points against him, he's now serving here for a 5-4 lead. Cool, wasn't it? Very cool play by Jonas.
In the second or third point of the match, Edberg had exactly the same shot and went cross-court on that backhand. Svensson knew that, remembered it, and was waiting for the different one, the one down the line.
He's missing a lot of first serves in the deuce court when there's slightly less pressure on. Another brilliant return. He's forcing Edberg to play the lowest of volleys or a half volley. Third break point. And again, forced him into the half volley. Well, this is really an exciting period of play by Jonas Svensson. He now is in the driving seat in this match and will be coming out to serve for a 2-set-to-1 lead. Can he do it? Hello, welcome back. This is the moment of truth for Jonas Svensson, serving for the third set and a 2-set-to-1 lead. Oh, a beautiful volley. Just too impetuous then. He didn't think and then go to the net. He went to the net thinking I'm going to the net before he even hit the ball.
Oh, it's a bad shot, Bill. There's that one-handed backhand of Svensson. Normally hits two-handed, but likes the defensive one-handed one, but just too low, isn't it? Great pity.
Big point, 15-30. I'm just thinking, Paul, it's been a long, long time since we've seen a double fault from Jonas Svensson. Now then, having thought he was almost there, he's facing 2 break points, and Edberg is looking very eager. Disastrous game by Jonas. Well, I mean, that game just took no time at all. Stefan taking a bit of time here. There's Jan Tiriac, promoter of so many of these big events, former Romanian Davis Cup player. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, that is awful. Up his head must have come. Very risky by Jonas to do that.
Yes, he'd obviously decided not to just to push it up down the line, which is the obvious shot, but to go for the outright winner.
Wonderful return. Edberg deep in trouble again.
Well, again, who says there's a disadvantage in having 2 hands?
Gosh, that was some second serve, wasn't it? Better than he meant, I think. He really deserves a medal for valor if he meant that to be on the line. Incredible angle. There's that toss again. It's crept, by his standards, far more over to the right.
Well, that must be classed as an opportunity for Svensson. Second serve to his favourite backhand wing. Didn't make him play.
Set all, 5 all, 30 all. Jonas thought it long. Edberg doesn't want to know. He's got game point. Well, from serving for the set, Jonas Svensson now has to come out and serve to stay in the set. We'll be back. Hello, welcome back. One of the tensest moments in the match as Svensson is serving to stay in this set. Having served for the set. In his last service game and getting broken very quickly indeed.
No. What a terrible shot again, Bill.
Yep. Wrong shot selection by far. Stefan Edberg is all pumped up to break. Five, 6, love 30. Well, that certainly wasn't, although it looked it, casual. Tension on these two players. You very rarely see Edberg shaking his head like this. That's really tough on Svensson. So there have been quite a few net calls in this match, and that one produces 2 set points. He's done it. And incredible, isn't it? Received in stony silence. I mean, when you look at Stefan Edberg there, he just fought his heart out, particularly in the last half of that set, to win that set. I really would have thought, Paul, he might have got a little bit of desultory applause.
I can't believe that. The whole crowd thought the same, not to give any applause at the end of that set. I mean, it's a great set. Extraordinary. Jonas, what are you doing with this drop shot of yours? I never know. That's what, 3 or 4 drop shots he's played all at the wrong time. Well, if anyone wants to copy how not to do a drop shot, this is the one, far too high.
Beautiful movement by Edberg. Any man knows the geography of a tennis court and where to be on it and where to go for the next shot. He does. He's very like John McEnroe in that sense.
That's about the only sense he is, though, Bill, isn't it?
Yep. Different temperaments, I must admit. But both absolute artists on the tennis court. Stefan played that in a very half-hearted way. He either thought it was out or thought too late that it was in. Naughty boy, thinks Annette Olsen.
Oh!
2 hours and 8 minutes they've been on court in this final as they start the first game of the 4th set.
And this is where concentration becomes a factor, having been on court for over 2 hours. Both these players superbly fit physically and therefore mentally very strong.
Beautiful serve, one of the best serves by Edberg for some time. He is now 2 sets to 1 up and 1 love up, 4th set. Hello again with Eurosport in Stuttgart. 2 sets to 1, Edberg up, and Edberg held serve first game, 4th set. So quick to recover.
Yes, he really should have hit a shot harder here. He went for the luxury of a topspin lob, whereas Stefan Edberg was out of position slightly. He should have really hit the ball much harder than that, gone for the pass. And Jonas needs to pump some adrenaline into himself at the moment, Bill. He's gone a little bit quiet after serving for the set and losing it.
15, 14, 15, 14.
Yes, suddenly his player's gone a little bit fragile. What a mental difference there is in just losing that tight third set. And now break points, early fourth set. Well, he's persisting with that disastrous tactic of his. And this time, Stefan went down the line. He learnt his lesson too.
I'm sure Svensson's coach after this match will be giving him a few lessons in the drop shot of when not to play it.
Great coverage of the court under pressure. Determined to get everything back.
He needs a bit of inspiration to zip himself up a bit. Perhaps this rally will, because this particularly was a good volley. That one there, right stretched, forcing Edberg to hit a half volley.
15, 15.
But looking at the body language of both players, Bill, you can see who's 2 sets to 1 up. Edberg's the one that's running around a little bit more lighter on the feet.
Very good, restrained shot, that.
Yes, I thought for a minute that he was going to go back down the line, but he knew that Stefan Edberg was a little out of position.
Very good judgment by Edberg there. Just whipped his racket out of the way in time.
Yes, when you think, Bill, at this level, at the speed of the ball travels, he probably had, oh, I don't know, less than half a second to decide whether or not to lead that ball.
Well, that's the first time I've heard Stefan foot faulted this week, actually. He often does foot fault, though. All his action is geared to carrying him forward immediately after serve up to the net. Beautiful shot. Just fluent action there.
But this is good, though. Although he lost the point, I like the fact that he's coming into the net a little bit more on the return of serve. It shows that he's still thinking positively.
Here's a point for a 3-love lead. Such a mental game, this, such a psychological game, Paul, isn't it? I mean, when we look back about 20 minutes, and there was Jonas Svensson serving for a 2-set-to-1 lead, Jonas's whole attitude and feelings and mental state would have been totally different to what it is now.
It would, because guys only have 1 or 2 chances to beat the very, very top players. The game is dominated consistently by the Lendls, the Beckers, the Edbergs of this world. And the lesser players, if I may call them that, they're not really, but that's the word I can think of, the players ranked below them, they only get very few opportunities, and he had one there to go 2 sets to 1 up and didn't take the opportunity at all. But you've got to give full marks to this guy. Superb player, wonderful ambassador to the game, clean cut, marvellous image, very popular with players and spectators. Few people, if any, have anything to say against Stefan Edberg as a person, both off-court or on-court, and that is a huge accolade to have around your neck. He's recently been made chairman of the ATP, the Association of Tennis Professionals Charities Association, and they do a lot of work around the country, around the world for charities. Great guy.
I wonder if that reaction was because he missed the volley or because he thought the ball was out. His shot.
Not sure.
Two sets to 1, 3-1.
That's bad luck, isn't it? It was so close, hit the top of the net cord there.
That's a great serve.
Yes, it's for those who are really interested in tennis, just look at the arch of the back on this, particularly on the second serve of Edberg's. I don't advise any player to go out and try and copy that arch back second serve of Edberg's. Just watch it now.
Spiel. Edberg, 9 Jahre, Minus. Edberg fährt 4-1, Edberg jetzt Oman, Minus.
I can't really, Paul, believe the reaction of the crowd to any success from Edberg, because, as we've pointed out many times, he couldn't be a nicer fellow. He's trying his heart out, and yet he won that third set in absolutely stony silence. I don't think there was a single bit of applause, which I find very regrettable.
Yes, I think that the character of Stefan Edberg, he doesn't conjure up great excitement from the crowd like the Beckers or the Agassis do or the McEnroes do, because he is so uncontroversial. I think the respect that people give him is tremendous as a player, as a person, but he doesn't get people excited unless the match is very, very close indeed. And players and people in Germany, that's why they love Boris Becker so much. Boris is totally different than Stefan Edberg. Becker is full of emotion. There's full of off and on-court stories about Becker, or good ones, not negative ones. And he's a very emotional player, whereas Stefan is very poker face and really conjures up respect from people as opposed to enthusiasm from people. I think that's the reason.
Yeah, well, that's one of my points. If the crowd are real tennis buffs, if they really enjoy the game and appreciate a fellow at the top of his game playing superb stuff and fighting hard, then they should applaud it. That's so difficult to keep your eye on the ball when you go forward like that. He's not very happy with it, is he?
That's the equivalent of the Edberg rant and rage of McEnroe, Bill.
That's right. Oh, that's very good. Very well played. Hardly any room to squeeze that through.
Yes, it's a slight change of tactic, because normally Edberg has been floating those down the backhand side. Yes, on the line.
Well, he didn't quite get his feet in position for that, but they've been on court a long time, and tiredness must be a factor. So this is a really important point for Svensson. If he doesn't save this point, he's got real problems. Well, it was a little bit lucky by Stefan, but it was a very athletic jump. And Jonas mockingly smiles at himself. A bad lob, really. He's broken here now, so close to a 2-set-to-1 lead. Got broken back immediately, and now is facing imminent defeat. Well, I guess quietly to you, Paul, 6-2. It looks as though it might well be 6-1 this set. Still having trouble with the toss. The toss and the backhand volley. Two of his main strengths, really. And they've given him trouble all the way through the match. Great champion though he is, though, he survived intact, notwithstanding. Yes, well played.
Well, that's the type of rally that excites the crowd. Look at them all there clapping. They like this rough and tumbled excitement of this rally. This was a good lob. This is the third time that Stefan Edberg has had exactly this type of shot. Twice he's gone cross-court and once down the line. But Jonas was waiting. Svensson's got absolutely nothing to lose, Bill. I just hope that he just keeps going for his shots, taking some risks.
Yep, that's a good shot. Many matches have been won from this position down. It's tough when you're facing a serve and volleyer like Edberg, though.
Once again, Stefan Edberg in the air when he serves, when he hits the ball. It's not a foot fault, used to be, but no longer.
Another beautiful pass. No doubt he's very relaxed within himself at the moment. And that helps to produce these lovely shots. Would you believe it? Edberg serving for the title, and he gets broken to love. He's still ahead, though, 2-1 and 5-2, fourth set. Hello and welcome back with Eurosport at this very exciting conclusion. Nearly, perhaps, certainly can't be sure. He's 2-5 down, fourth set, 2-1 down. Edberg just served for the match and lost it to love. Almost unbelievable. So perhaps he's on the comeback trail.
Just lost concentration in the middle of the first and second serves there. No, fault. Someone call it, please.
Well, there's one of those occasions when both players were absolutely certain it was a fault. Two points off victory. Intimidating tactics by Edberg. He wants to get to the locker room with the prize money. 2 match points for the title for Stefan Edberg. Only great players seem to win this title. Becker won last year. Well, almost appropriate that that disastrous drop shot which has cost Jonas so many points. What a friendly ending between two great players, great friends. A little bit of a smile from Annette there. Tony Pickard obviously very pleased. Stefan came through that match, I think, not playing his best by a long way, but that's the mark of a champion. As Jack Nicklaus in golf used to say, play badly and win, and you really deserve to win.
Yes, full marks to Stefan Edberg, who continues his onslaught at #1 in the world that he's recently taken over from Boris Becker. Having had a little bit of a disappointing time in the Australian Championships, Brussels and Davis Cup, he's come back well to take over the #1 slot in the world and also to win this championships in Stuttgart. Great player, but Jonas Svensson full marks. If he had won his serves when he served at 5-4 to be 2-1 up, then who knows, we could have still been out here and Svensson could have perhaps even won this match. But he didn't. He lost his serve, had a great opportunity to go 2-1 up, but unfortunately just failed in the last hurdle. The drop shot has been a major problem for Svensson. He's made 5 drop shots and hasn't won one of them. Edberg suffered a little with a few backhand volley errors and a few first and second serve errors, but besides that, as you say, Bill, hasn't played a great match, but he's still won, and that's the sign of the true champion he is.
Still great to watch that style, whether he's winning or losing, Edberg. Wonderful balance for all these shots. Weight going into the shot. Marvellous footwork. A male version of Steffi Graf, isn't he, in the footwork department?